Hello, my name is Sister Evelyn Varboncoeur. I live in Batavia, Illinois, and my ministry is working with women who are discerning to join us in religious life as candidates. And I'm happy to be speaking with you in this Catholic Sisters Week. The theme, as you know, would be celebrating tradition, changing the world. And I'm going to focus on that changing tradition piece. And I'd like to do that from our congregation's experiences in healthcare. It's a story of very creative, hardworking, faith-filled women, always ready to say yes when they were invited to meet a need. These days, since Vatican II, we often speak of our charism. It's that particular way that we live the gospel values that we inherited from our founders. And elements of our charism are family spirit, self-giving, and faith. I want to begin by emphasizing that our charism is not what we do. Rather, it's the spirit with which we do what we do, whether that's education, healthcare, spiritual ministry. What we do may give us an identity, but that's not the whole story. I also want to say that our ministry in healthcare parallels that of many other religious congregations. I want to start at the beginning. Our sisters came from France in 1889. Among them was Sister Emerencia, who was 22 years old, only 2 weeks of vows. The sisters came to work at the St. Viator's College, a seminary and a school for boys. Sister Emerencia was the infirmarian for the students. In 1897, just a few short years after the sisters arrived, they were invited by the people of Kankakee to staff Emergency Hospital, which became eventually St. Mary's Hospital. And in order to prepare for this, Sister Emerencia went to Mercy Hospital in Chicago for 6 months. She came back as a nurse, x-ray technician, and lab technician. She knew everything there was to know about medicine at that time. Some years later, in 1924, the people of Champaign-Urbana invited our sisters to staff Mercy Hospital. There had been another community of sisters who had a number of deaths in their congregation and were not able to stay. So we were able to send 7 sisters from Kankakee to Mercy Hospital in Champaign-Urbana. In 1981, we responded to a need in the Bourbonnais area to a nursing home that was in trouble. It became Our Lady of Victory. And not long after, we were invited by the Rockford Diocese to build a new nursing home in Rockford, and it became St. Anne's Center. Now, initially, these facilities were staffed by a number of sisters, and it was their presence and their witness that spoke to the co-workers and the patients of the gift, the charism that is ours. As these facilities grew, fewer sisters, more lay people, it became necessary and desirous to develop orientation programs, workshops, and such that we could use to share our spirit and charism with those people working with us. For those who cared for the sick, this was not a job. They experienced themselves as members of our community with our sisters. Evidence of this is the numbers of groups that continue to get together after years and years of retirement. There's a group of pediatric nurses, for instance, that continue to meet periodically. And in my own personal experience, after 30 years, there's a group of us that get together every summer just to talk about old times. Evidence of family bonds continue to unite us. And that's how we fulfill the second part of the theme, changing the world, one person at a time. And speaking of change, we live in a changing world, as evidenced by the many changes that have taken place in healthcare. Our hospitals began to change from the, in quotes, warm, family-centered facilities to more complex environments. Boards of directors were needed. There were leaders from the local communities that joined the sisters to develop plans, to budget. And these people, again, in their generous service, received the orientation programs, the workshops, to become familiar with our charism and our spirit, changing one person at a time. Some 25 years ago, healthcare systems began to emerge, and sisters transformed from hands-on care to sponsors of systems, assuring that they were continuing to live the spiritual values of the sisters in their plans and policies and budgets. Now there comes a time in all of our lives of letting go of things that have been precious to us and to move on to new calls and to new needs. Where are those hospitals and nursing homes, those 4 facilities that I mentioned? Well, until a few years ago, there were servants of the Holy Heart of Mary present, and they were there as long as was possible. The original Emergency St. Mary's Hospital and St. Anne's Center are now part of the Ascension system. Mercy Hospital has joined the system sponsored by the Peoria Franciscan Sisters, and Our Lady of Victory is now part of a Jewish system. And yet, the letting go, as challenging as that can be, has opened us to a new horizon in ministry. We're responding to a new call in service. We have come to embrace our new corporate ministry as spirituality services. The gifts and skills and experiences of our sisters in education and healthcare have turned into those skills for spiritual services. We offer spiritual direction, retreats, multiple spiritual programs offered on Zoom, reading groups, prayer groups, programs such as the De La Place Prayer Ministry, affiliates, servant companion, and consecrated laity programs. So you see, moving from education and healthcare has opened to us a vast new horizon. We are grateful to the good Lord for guiding us. Thank you. God's blessing be yours.